Waiters, what's the saddest time waiting for someone you have experienced? For more infotainment, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching. Not exactly a waiter, but I was working at a bar a few years back and there often was this girl, in her early 20s maybe, who sometimes used to meet her mother at the bar, maybe about every 2 or 3 months. The thing is, more often than not the mother either came extremely late, 1 or 2 hours at least, OT didn't came at all. When she came, there often was a huge tension between the two. It was obvious that they had some unresolved issues. Watching the girl wait for hours even if it was clear that the mother wouldn't come on that day always broke my heart. As a barkeeper and since she was a regular, I tried my best to engage a conversation with her to distract her a little, but there's only so much you can do. Fun fact, years after I stopped working at that bar, I met her at a random party and we had a great evening/night together. She told me that she broke up with her mother though. Not a waiter, but worked at a coffee shop for several years and made friends with tons of regulars. One of the regulars, we'll call him Jay, was working on his PhD in art history or something to that effect at the university near us. He came in one day, got his usual tea and asked if I could charge him for a latte, but make it later, no big deal. I was bussing tables and asked who the latte was for and very excitedly expressed that he was meeting a lady and it was kind of a date. He was an awkward kind of guy, but very interesting and incredibly friendly. 1 hour passes, no show, 2, no show, finally 3, he's looking despondent and starts collecting his things and leaves. She showed up 20 minutes later asking about Jay. Apparently they got their times completely mixed up. He comes in the next day and I mention that she came in looking for him and he looked so excited. I found out a week or so later from him that she basically blew him off a second time. He was so crestfallen, it broke my heart. Oh God! It happened to me when I was a waitress. A couple walks in, she is super happy, and very visibly in love. He is, not so much. Everything is going all right, they finish their main, I approach them to clear the plates and ask about dessert. The girl is not so happy anymore, and the guy seems tense. I asked if they'd like to see our dessert menu, and the girl started crying. I excused myself and started to dig WTF happened with my co-workers. Someone says they heard the guy is going on a long work trip, so I figure the girl is just sad because her boyfriend is probably being deployed or something. I decided to try brightening up their evening by bringing them some free desserts, and my boss encourages me to get them something to drink and takes out the appetizers from their tab, so I think I'll just take some cheesecake and asks them if they'd like a glass of wine on the house, and asked if they'd prefer white, red, or something non-alcoholic. The girl just absolutely loses it. She is now ugly crying, with snot and tears dripping down from her chin while she repeatedly asks the guy how could he do this to her. I'm standing there holding the cheesecake feeling like the dumbest creature to wander the land. I walked her into the ladies' room, and helped her get a hold of herself. We keep her in my manager's office until she cooled down, and she calls her girlfriend to pick her up. The guy apologized, paid, tipped well, and left. Apparently he was being deployed. He had also cheated on her, got his side piece pregnant, and was going to marry the pregnant girl instead. She had to tell her family she was being dumped a couple of months before her wedding. She kept repeating how she had already sent the invitations. It was heartbreaking. Honestly, after hearing her venting, I think she took it a lot better than I would have. I still feel bad for her, and hope she can now think of that humiliation as a good riddance and learning experience. So, crying girl in the Greek restaurant, nobody thought you were crazy, we all agreed you are awesome, and your ex. I was a server for 5 years and the most heartbreaking experience I had was an older woman, probably in her 60s, was waiting for her grandson to come meet her for lunch. When I greeted her at the table she was very excited as I assumed she didn't see him much. As time went by no one showed up, so she decided to order. Towards the end of her meal no had shown up, so it being a slow shift, me and my GF, we worked together at the same restaurant, which is where we met, decided to just talk with her for a little bit and give her some company. We both felt so sad for this sweet old lady, but we could tell that simple act of kindness made her day. Shame on that grandson. Not a waiter but a patron at the restaurant. My girlfriend had taken me out to this local niche type restaurant, one of the ones that was the type where you could get vintage old game and stuff to play while you got your food. As we get in and seated young man around my age at the time, think 18 to 20-ish, comes in holding a nice bunch of flowers and he is dressed really nice with the hair done up and everything. It clearly took him a lot of preparation. So me and my girlfriend order and talk and enjoy the evening, and we realize that this guy is still alone. After an hour we have our food and are eating, but he's still sitting there drinking a soda and checking his phone, then the door, then his phone, every 5 minutes. This went on for the whole 2-ish hours we were there. It became obvious by his increasing anxiety and glum look that he must have known he was stood up but either couldn't accept it yet or was still desperately holding out hope. Me and my girlfriend felt so bad for him that when we paid our bill we gave the waitress extra money to send him a cheesecake. Waitress ended up giving him 2 just because she felt bad as well. To this day it still sticks with me seeing that poor kid go through that. And it boggles my mind because the guy wasn't bad looking, there wasn't anything apparently wrong with him, not that it would justify it if there was, it just adds to the confusion. People can really be sometimes. Edit. Some people commented on the waitress giving him 2 pieces. I meant it more in the sense that she gave him 2 pieces but in the sense of a double portion. Not 2 separate servings to rub it in. I apologize for not clarifying that. I used to work birthdays at a science museum. So, one weekend, the birthday family arrives, I escort them back to their room as usual and start talking with the mom about how she wants things to go, setting up the room, etc. She mentions that they just moved here and her son doesn't have many friends yet. So they invited one cousin about their son's age, and then just invited the kids' entire, 2nd grade maybe, class to the party. An hour goes by and the little cousin has shown up, but nobody else. The little dude invited every kid in his class and not one of them showed up. Now to be honest, the birthday boy himself didn't seem that concerned. He and his cousin were happily playing with each other the whole time. I just don't think he was really that warmed up to the kids in his class to begin with. But the mom was heartbroken. She had set this party up for her son, had bought a birthday package that included a private room, general admission for all guests, and me taking a dewar of liquid nitrogen to the room and making ice cream for the party. She had high hopes for this. And nobody showed. And she was in tears. And she asked me to go out the museum and just invite random kids into her son's birthday party. Just so that there would be at least some other kids for him to play with. And this is the part that I'll never forget. We found a half-dozen kids who were interested in coming to the party. And the mom was very grateful to them. But word also got out to the staff. And the staff absolutely rallied around this kid. Other employees showed up to sing him happy birthday. Some staffers went to the gift shop to buy him gifts. One of my managers got the family vouchers for future admission. We have a mascot, a robot, who will walk around and play with guests, and he showed up to the party with some gifts from our gift shop. I brought down the materials for making a couple of different types of homemade slime, and made slime with the kids. One of my co-workers, one of the smartest and kindest people I've ever met, spoke with the mom about the son's interests, and discovers the birthday boy is a fan of the Avengers. So he goes back to where we have a laser etcher on display, and comes back with a wood burning that is a picture of the Avengers wishing the son happy birthday. By the end of the party, the mom was in tears again, but for a very different reason. A few days later she sent us the sweetest letter about how much it all meant to her. I worked 3 to 5 birthdays a weekend, every weekend, for about 5 years, and they were always fun. But that was the absolute best day at work I've ever had.